Hello everyone, Storm here, and today we are back with the 4th episode of Post-Mortem. This is a series where I look back at my past what-ifs and address comments as to provide more insight into the decisions made within the story and make alterations to anything that needs changing. Today we'll be looking at What If Dale Survived, which was originally posted on the Storm channel before being reposted here on May 9th, 2021. This story covered the events of what might have happened had Jeffrey DeMunn, Dale's actor, not been so willing to leave after Frank Darabont's firing. Though it was mostly a question of what the group would do with the moral compass staying alive in Season 2. Dale managed to make it all the way to Season 11, which was pretty interesting considering he's that old, and also refused to kill throughout all of it. So definitely make sure you check out that series before watching this, as it'll be pretty important to understanding these comments. And before we start, I just want to give a quick reminder that the top tier members got to see this video early, the Survivor tier got to see the thumbnail, and the Walker tier still gets shouted out at the end of the video, so definitely make sure you become a member if you want some awesome perks. Alright, the first question for What If Dale Survived. If Dale was there when Rick told everyone he had to kill Shane, he would have told them about when Shane aimed a gun at Rick. And it was followed with a reply. He would have had Rick's back. Dale was clearly disturbed when Shane did that, and he was most suspicious of Shane's behavior. He probably would have told them about Shane threatening the farm. As for my response, I totally believe this was happening, and I love you guys adding in your own scenes to convey more of the story and characters for these videos. Number 2, there are a few comments just saying that Gareth could or should not have been redeemed, and I think that's wrong. We've seen characters in this franchise do this, or at the very least, start that path before their deaths, such as Merle, Negan, Dwight, Laura, Sherry, Troy, Madison, Strand, and Huck. And yeah, all of these guys reveled in their own glory and evil actions to varying extents, but they all changed. They all did good or started working toward it. Redemption is absolutely a thing that's possible for a lot of characters, and usually the ones that don't end up changing despite the opportunity to are already bad and broken from the start. Examples would be the governor, who was always self-centered and dissatisfied with his life before the outbreak, suffering physical abuse from his father as a kid and his wife's death. The governor's charisma and sometimes sweet nature is a deliberate disguise to hide his true sinister beliefs and actions. Alpha was also an abusive and unstable mother before the outbreak despite her love for her daughter, and even then she was pushed pretty far when it came to Lydia. Compare this to someone like Dwight and Sherry, who were both super sweet and average people before they met Negan, or Huck, who gunned down her whole troop because she didn't want to be part of killing innocent people. Gareth was presumably a good guy before the apocalypse, and we know Terminus was a good place before they were attacked and used to their attackers' whims. There had to have been good in him, he was simply molded by what happened to him and couldn't get past it. Some people get so trapped in a reactionary worldview that they do absurd things, but that doesn't mean they can't change. Many members of our beloved group go through this too, such as Rick or Carol choosing harmful, destructive paths for their families and anyone they meet along the way. But no one would say Rick or Carol are evil or too far gone. Now, as for the claim that Dale wouldn't try and stop his group from killing them, I really disagree. Even if Dale was disgusted by Gareth's actions, he'd still at the very least want to prevent Rick, Sasha, and the others from going down the same path I said Gareth went down. They were going to murder them and revel in it. And Dale knows. We know. And even if you believe they might deserve it, even if Dale believes they might deserve it to some extent, he wouldn't believe it's something they do. Dale would not let Rick bash a machete into a dead man's mushy pulp of a head because Gareth was a bad guy. Going forward to number 3, following up on that previous comment, someone said that without Rick and the group's massacre of the Termites, Season 5 and 6 wouldn't work because it's all about coming back from being almost too far gone. And I agree to an extent that it would lose its impact and I wouldn't enjoy it as much narratively, but Carol still did a few things that were kinda bad, and Rick fights to not do the same things he actually wants to, like murdering the Termites or killing Pete. So I think it still works, and the characters would still mostly do the same stuff. It's just a lot less subtle or well written. Dale kinda just stops people from going too far. Number 4, someone said I didn't mention Terminus, but I definitely did, and someone asked what happened to Jesus since I didn't mention his death, and I'd say yeah, he'd still die. Someone also asked about the Lydia storyline that cut out at the middle of Season 9, and yeah, that went the same too. If I skip over some things, it's usually just because they happen the same, or they just blatantly don't happen due to the events changing beforehand. So for the most part, you can assume that most things fall in line with the original canon if there's no explicit reason for them to change, or if I don't talk about it. Number 5, someone mentioned Dale's Walker kill in Season 1 because I didn't remember if he actually did that on screen, but yeah, he did. Number 6, one comment mentioned Dale being the most important character to the story if he survived, and how things would be more satisfying. I'm not entirely sure if he'd be the most important person, but I do agree that he'd change a lot, and I'm glad the goal of this video, which was to be an accurate telling of possible events, was able to be met. Number 7, someone said that I should have had Dale die in Season 11 because he's old, and I just gotta say no to that. he might be old, but I can't accurately gauge when he would die from that. I'm not just gonna say sometime in the 6-year jump he dies, or after the Whisperers, or anything like that. If he's gonna die, I want it to be authentic. What if an old man survived? Ending with the old man dying because he's old is lame. Like, why would you even do it in the first place then? One comment asked for a big tiny subplot where he survives the prison attack because it's too cliche for him to die here, but I gotta say no. We don't know anything about him, so he's not that interesting, and I could easily see him dying in a big battle with a tank and tons of guns being fired. The only people on Rick's side that died in the actual fight were randoms. Number 9. Someone didn't think Negan would have said he didn't care Maggie was pregnant since he cares about kids and doesn't like killing women. Both of these facts are true, but at the time of me making the video, Negan had threatened to make Rick cut off Carl's arm, threatened to stab his only remaining eye, and nearly killed him with Lucille, only stopping due to Shiva scaring him. While it's true he liked Carl, that was it, he liked Carl. He didn't particularly like killing women, but that was it. He'd still do it. He'd still kill Carl. Negan's people brutally murdered children at Oceanside and Hilltop. The idea that Negan wouldn't kill a kid comes from season 11 where he says he'd never kill a kid, but he was definitely willing to in season 7's finale when he nearly killed Carl. On screen. It happened. Seasons 9 through 11, Dead City, and even Jeffrey Dean Morgan himself have all tried to retcon Negan into being a better guy all along to push for a more believable redemption. But I don't really buy it. If Negan didn't think Maggie was attractive, he would have totally been willing to kill her. But if you think Negan nearly killing Carl was just a bluff, then I guess you could say Negan writing off Maggie's pregnancy to make himself look tougher is also a bluff, which I do think it kind of half was here. Number 10. One commenter said that Gareth and Martin would have died from eating Bob's leg since it was infected, but I don't think that would have killed them. It was cooked, Bob's body was still mostly healthy, and we have no evidence that eating that tainted meat kills you. I could maybe see it instilling some sickness, but I think they'd survive. Number 11. How did you actually make me want to see Gareth live? Well, I tried my best to sell a realistic interpretation of events. I love the idea of Gareth being the most lucky guy in the world in this what if, to have both been with the group that has Dale in it, and kind of be saved by Aikido Morgan. Him paying off the debt he owes Rick for crossing paths with him again is constantly at play until he is taken away by Martin. I think the intrigue at this would have been super cool, especially since Heat's disappearance was never followed up on. Number 11. Someone said that Tyrese probably would have survived the door scene with Nicholas, and yeah, I do see that happening. But I do think Tyrese is big enough to get grabbed when Nicholas breaks through, since Tyrese wouldn't be ready for him to completely go against that plan. Him not being ready for that causes the initial falter in the doors, he gets grabbed, and then he gets pulled into the walkers. If I were to redo his death, I'd have him do it in a more sacrificial sense once his leg gets grabbed, and he'd fight the walkers until the end. Or he'd get bitten but escapes after fighting his way out, still having hallucinations and eventually dying. Number 13. Some people didn't like that Maize or Carl died, but I believe I explained in detail why Carl would have been the best option to kill in that scenario, and it's definitely very realistic given that scenario. As for Maize, he got caught in the back and died for it. This is also realistic, and it's realistic to the show too, since new characters were introduced and immediately killed by the Reapers during season 11's first third. And last, number 14. Someone commented on Darth Maul being on screen when I said Gabriel, and the honest truth about that is just because of a stupid meme I found where the wiki says Darth Maul was later known as Gabriel Maul. It's a super niche, dumb meme, but I love it, so you might still see it in the future, who knows. But yeah, guys, that is the end of What If Dale Survived Post-Mortem. I think at the very least, I can say that I did Dale more justice than the Walking Dead Destinies did, right? As always, a huge shout out to our members from the Walker tier, all of which are on screen now. We also have the Survivor tier, Davisville 84, Aiden Kearns, Chief Straight Up Constituent, and Tifu A. And last, the Christian Man tier. Willie, Marco Caldwell, Zombie Warlord, Very Classy Demon, 23 Days Later, Heliopelio, Coda Cole, Bad Opinion, Boshua, and Octavio Monreal. If you like these videos and you want to get awesome perks like early videos and exclusive community posts, then definitely make sure you become a member using the link in the description. But as always, tell me if you like this part, tell me what you think will happen next, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.